number one political hip hop radio talk show. Hey, listen, y'all know it is the fourth Friday. Y'all know it is the disciples, and they in the building, and of course, Hawk runs in because he busy signing checks.
That's it.
Brother,
So,
this is true,
Brother.
brother. This is true, brother.
Yes.
So
You
he's
got a
taking care of
full-fledged
business.
school here in North, brother.
Yeah.
Brother.
That's right.
Listen, I know we got a jam-packed show, of course, tonight. We've got the disciples that's going to be up first, and they've got a guest that's going to be in the building.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a number of things. Of course, y'all know that the governor did his budget this week, so we're going to talk a little bit about that in regards to where we are in that budget. Make that announcement. And then, of course, after that, y'all know we're going to get into the next doc. We're going to have some of the folks who were involved in not only producing it, but we're going to have some of the folks that were part of the doc. So we're going to have them in, we're going to talk to them. And then, of course, y'all know at 8 o'clock, we're going to turn DJ Rhino loose. And then DJ Rhino going to do his thing. And then we're going to have Amina conversation with her about a program they're going to have this Saturday at St. James Church. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we on the road, just in terms of how not only did they receive us well, but they received Mayor Baraka well. And he had a great time. We had a great time. That was our first time out. And what was interesting is we went out and we did a big test with the mayor. So we passed that test. So we know we can handle the disciples. So they're gonna, introduce themselves, talk a little bit, and then they're gonna introduce their guests, and then we're gonna delve into a conversation about about. All right. So DJ Ron, are you ready, my brother?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. All right.
I printed it out and sent it to you. You want it?
No, that's fine.
Let me send it to you. On my phone. On my phone.
Yeah.
Let me have my phone real quick.
Where you from? I'll give it to you. Tell me where it is.
Oh, that is? I can go to your school. They got you, brother. Like Ali, you know my precious nice beauty, brother. That's why I think the brother from North
That's why I make sure you. That'll be unnecessary.
Especially if somebody, we definitely want to make sure it's set at 7 o'clock.
Sir, yes, sir.
I bet no other time.
Yes.
I'm pretty safe with this one. Right, 7.
Yeah, these
Get money that you know. So don't keep walking along until you get that big song. And then you about to turn back. I got the chocolate on your back. About to turn back. I got the chocolate on your back. Oh, everybody know what the song's about. They say that history. Everybody rockin' history. Vision inside.
Ooh, that smells good.
Why are we spiritually deaf,
Deaf, dumb,
dumb,
and
and
blind.
Why is everybody making progress yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our country, our God, and our religion.
Tell me why.
Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten from the preacher. And he has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
Greetings to you. Once again, Brother Abu Hamid, I'm the student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the Muhammad Mosque of Islam, number 25, which is located here in the city of Newark, New Jersey. Once again, for another week, we're here bringing you the disciples. I have next to me, on my right, my esteemed colleagues and co-hosts. I know that they are well capable to introduce themselves. Pastor Roundtree.
Troy,
Wow,
and
thank you so
it's
much.
an honor to be here.
Grace and peace be unto you from God our Father, Lord Jesus Christ. It's your boy, Pastor B. Ali, aka Pastor in the Hood.
Wonderful brothers and sisters. Again, we are greatly privileged for this honor to be able to speak to you and to behold these sacred airways, because
Yes.
we know that nothing is more important than the human consciousness. So we thank you for allowing us to come to you again. We have with us a special guest in our second half of our show, Reverend Roundtree, Pastor Ali in the Hood. The election is coming up. I mean, it's like the news. I mean, every day there's something new that's happening, whether it's in our city, whether it's in our country or another country. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the news that's happening. We know just recently we lost Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
We pray that Almighty God will bless him and his family,
Yes.
his children, all
Yes,
of his
sir.
fans. Everybody was just so deeply moved by that loss.
Yes.
We've seen the service happen a few days ago. So many big name stars and celebrities was there. Michael Jordan, Beyonce, Jay-Z. So many people that he impacted and
Yes.
touched. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan mentioned Kobe Bryant and his Savior's Day address this past Sunday, and just what he meant to the world. But speaking about Kobe Bryant, we know that there was some controversy surrounding
Yes.
Kobe Bryant as it relates to Gayle King, Snoop Dogg. That has been in the headlines and in the news. A lot.
So truthfully speaking, anytime someone of that caliber or that someone like Kobe Bryant, someone like a Michael Jackson, these people have a way, the journalists, and I can't say that they're wrong or right, impact it's going to have on a family to bring up something from someone past at a time when a family is mourning. I think it's insensitive, but it's their job. So I'm not going to try to make a statement to attack them. But when Michael transitioned, they brought up all of the situations and interviewed. I'm going to talk about, you know what they brought up,
Yeah, I understand.
you know?
Well, reality is, if you're a public person,
Exactly.
you should have had that
Exactly.
conversation in another forum.
Another
with other
time.
individuals,
At another time.
not with a woman that was grieving.
Exactly.
Number one,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody got to him, smoked a joint with him, and said, "You gotta apologize," because that was crazy what he did. Also, I understand the anger and stuff like that. And then I thought about Kobe's disposition. If it had been the opposite, he would have.
The insensitivity as it relates to death.
That's right.
There's really no respect for
It
death.
is. That's
There's
right.
not a lot of respect
That's
for
it.
life, and that's why the spiritual
right.
leaders, we have to continue to sound
right.
the alarm,
That's right.
And continue to warn and continue to guide, because this country
Yep.
is in desperate and dire need of spiritual darkness will be gross.
Gross.
And we know that a lot of our people are in despair. So again, we live will be gross.
Gross.
And we know that a lot of our people are in despair. So again, we live in a time where everyone's selling content, and it's all about shock
Absolutely.
and awe.
That's right.
The more inflammatory you can be, the more sensational you can be, the more scandalous the subject matter, then it seems
The
like
larger
more,
your audience.
Yeah, the larger your understand. In order to get views, we are monetizing content
That's
today
right. That's
with
right.
the advent of Instagram,
That's right.
YouTube.
That's right.
So it's like the
Facebook.
more radical you can generate. I don't know what was Gail's intent. State of mind is an issue. I can't say
I
what
commend
it's.
Leslie though.
Yeah, I
I
can't
commend
say
her
what
how
the-
she responded.
She
I commend her as a friend and as a
Right,
sister. She's the one we should be talking
she
about.
handled it very
She handled
dignified.
it very
And she
dignified.
tried to
Yeah.
To redirect the
Redirect,
conversation.
Right.
yeah.
She
And
handled
as
it
she
very-
tried to redirect it, the young lady kept coming back to it.
she handled it
and
very
she kept-
dignified.
Absolutely.
Very
Absolutely.
dignified.
Absolutely.
She deserves a round of
Yes,
applause.
she does. Yes,
if
she
this was the
does.
Breakfast Club, or
Yes, that's
Buck
right.
Master Flip,
We'd
we'd
have
drop
the-
a couple of
We got-
bombs.
Yes, right. That's right. That's right.
But again,
You
I
gotta
think
get that.
we gotta get some sound
You
effects.
get right,
in
you
there.
gotta
We
get
some
that.
sound effects. in
Sound
there.
effects.
Drop some bombs.
That's right. That's right.
The
right.
other day. So, but again, I think it speaks to the time in which we're living. We know that the Bible says that it will be perilous
Perilous
times.
times. That's right.
Men will be lovers of their own
Own
selves,
selves. That's
perpetual
right.
boasters,
That's
proud,
right.
blasphemous,
That's right.
disobedient to
That's right.
parents,
That's right.
truth
That's right.
breakers, false
right.
accusers, having a form of godliness but denying the
None
power
about.
thereof.
That's right.
So we can see that America is definitely in need of some spiritual rejuvenation, moral reclamation. And that's our job as watchmen, as watchwomen, to bring balance. You understand? To irrational.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes.
Not using their best judgment.
That's right.
And they say that cool heads always prevail. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan mentioned the Kobe and Gayle King thing, and he quoted from the Holy Quran where it says, Allah loves not the public utterance of hurtful speech except by one who has been wrong.
Mhm.
So we definitely can understand that Snoop in his anger and his
Mhm.
fervor. We know he later went on the Red Table with the Pick and Smith,
Mhm.
and he expressed,
Right.
you understand, and gave
Right.
some context
Right.
to his content,
yeah.
and told and expressed why he did what he did. He was very emotional.
Yes.
Brother Ed, you are a lawyer. You
Yep.
know, in law, they have sometimes what is called an excited utterance.
Yes.
You understand? Yeah, he understands that.
He
They
understands.
have what is called an excited utterance.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
what it was. I don't think that Snoop
Yeah.
meant any,
No.
he had any malicious intent in doing what he did, but he definitely
got
was hurt.
excited.
Yeah, he definitely was hurt. Like many
Yeah.
people were hurt. You
Yeah.
understand? Because the way that Kobe passed, it definitely was
Yeah.
tragic and a
Tragic.
shock that permeated throughout Black America in the world.
And that
as
was
it
not a
relates-
time
Yeah, to
when
how
you got three little girls, you got another little girl that was on that plane, his daughter, you had other young ladies that were on that plane. You had so I mean on that helicopter in the helicopter crash. So for a woman that knows that a mother is grieving the loss of her husband, to ask his best friend or his friend, which is a female, what to bring up his history, that just was the wrong time. It was just so insensitive, and we have to.
And
And you know, listen, watch this. All of us got something.
look, as my teacher teaches me, every moon has a dark side.
Every
You
moon.
understand? But the side,
Every
the
moon.
side that Almighty God Allah allows the people to see is the sign.
It's
It's the side that
that
shines.
But
That's
I think,
right.
I think the key is with this with Snoop, and this is what my advice to him would be.
That's
Access.
right.
When they hear him give a command like that
Yep,
and say, "We will take care of you,"
that's right.
they will.
But he might just put a target on his back.
You know, not only on his back, but he just had to be a little more
Careful.
responsible
Yeah.
and careful using. And what's that other inch you gave?
Utterance in
The
law,
The New York Post had put a thing out today
you can use that as a
that
defense.
Donald Trump had Black History at the White House in the Oval Office. And he was saying that he understands Black pain because he understands what it is when people are just like him. He said all the Black folks should support him 100% because our poverty is lower than it has ever been. We're working more than we have ever worked. And then last but not least, he has pardoned more of people of color than any other president in history. So it was a picture with all these little Black folk all around.
Virus that has been worse and more detrimental than the virus of white supremacy.
That's right. Come on now.
So, I mean, this coronavirus,
Come on now.
you know, again, a few years ago with the H1N1,
N1,
the bird flu.
Yeah.
It was
Seemed like, it seemed like every few years there's a new
It's something
virus.
new.
You understand, that's popping up. They have the people in a state of hysteria. You know, everybody
Sounds
panicking.
like a plan
But I
to me.
also see something online that says that African skin is immune to it. I don't know. It's speculation and conjecture. I didn't see any scientific evidence to verify that. But they said that
They
that
also said
melanin,
Lysol been
that
killing it
melanin
all
hits
along.
different. I don't know. But I was seeing people posting that melanin hits different. And
Yeah.
I pray it do in this case. I see us walking around with masks
Yeah.
and you understand,
Gloves.
gloves. So we should be,
That's
you
right.
understand? And
That's right.
the more sanitary we
That's
are,
right.
and the more
That's right.
sane, God willing, we could
That's
be.
right. That's right.
But you know, again, talking about Gayle King and Snoop Dogg, again, I believe it was an excited utterance on Snoop
Snoop
Dogg's
Dogg
part.
part,
You
yeah.
understand? And
Yeah.
that's why the minister teaches us that in times of anger, it can bring about momentary insanity.
Yes,
And
sir.
those are the times that you got to reach for God the most.
Yes, sir.
Because there are things called the crime of passion.
That's right.
You understand?
That's
You
right.
were so
That's
blinded,
homicide.
yeah,
baby.
by your
Yeah.
fury and
Yeah.
your pain that you
That you just
blacked out.
blacked out for a
You
minute.
understand? So that is
Killed
reality.
everybody in the house.
That is reality. And I also understand what Pastor Ali is
Yeah.
saying, that being people that have influence, we got to be
Absolutely.
very careful
That's right.
and very cautious and very responsible
About
how we
public
use
statements.
this platform. So
Right.
it goes, understand, the good master had vying functions or dual functions. So it happens to the best of us. But again, we pray for Kobe Bryant's family,
Yes.
his children.
Yes.
Again, we pray that. Oh,
Yes.
there ain't no music or nothing. Okay, DJ. How quick, you know, my stuff need a soundtrack,
That's
black
right.
man. You know, how quick we are to indict people. You
Yes,
I
understand?
need,
Yeah.
I need a B3.
Yeah, because, you know, I
Yeah.
see it, we just so quick to
Wait a
indict,
minute.
belittle,
Without
and,
any evidence.
and you know what? And I see Michael Eric Dyson, because he's been
He's good.
advocating about getting rid of this cancel culture.
Yeah.
And we are
Yeah.
so quick to just cancel one another,
One another.
because you make a mistake or you trip and fall. And we all trip and fall, but those who are in the public eye, they get scrutinized a little more because they are in the public eye, where you and I get to make a mistake in our bedroom, and we're not even getting to make mistakes in our bedroom
Yeah.
behind closed doors today, because
Yeah.
we always got that camera
That's
roll.
right. That's right.
You
That's
understand?
right.
So
You got to, when you come out the door.
yeah, I just pray that Almighty God will bless Snoop, bless Gayle King,
Okay. Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett for
That's
doing what she
right.
did
That's right.
and trying to bring some resolve. You understand, some resolution to the pending conflict in Black America, and we need more people like her. But I
Yep.
see her getting criticism. But again, we have a special guest with us here in our studio. You know, the Democrats and Republicans, they vying with one another. I ain't gonna say they vying in all righteousness now, Brother Derek. I ain't gonna say that, but they're definitely vying. The Democrats trying to, again, be nominated and be the president-elect. We know our president-elect, Donald Trump. Brother Pastor Ali just mentioned him, but we're here in the state of New Jersey. We know our governor, Phil Murphy, he has signed recently a plethora of bills, you know, and some great bills he has signed. And so I do commend him for that. But we have one of his trusted aides here, Derek Green. You have a nickname, brother? He called him? Yes, Derek Green. Big D.
Reverend Derek Green. That's what they call him.
The dapper Derek Green. I wish you could see this man's suit. As Brother Ed said, he almost dressed as good as me. I wasn't about to let him in, but as it relates to your function and how long you've been doing what you've been doing.
Sure, thank you for that. Officially, my name is Reverend Derek Green. I serve as senior advisor, Dr. Ali,
What's the man?
and the great woman of God, Reverend Dr. Louis Scott Roundtree. Dr. Ali, I think it was 3 years, 4 years, 2016 in February,
Yeah.
where we came to your church for Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil Murphy was the guest speaker, even before he announced his candidacy. We were at New Psalmist Worship Center, and Phil Murphy delivered the sermon. He was the guest speaker for that Sunday morning, and we thank you for that opportunity. Come a long way since then, but it tells you where we got started.
That's right,
Minister. It tells you where we got started. We got started with the faith-based community in the hood, in the neighborhood, in the South Ward in Newark. Dr. Ali, we thank you, and we thank you for that. And Reverend Roundtree, the great work that you do in this city. You know, people always ask me, you know, Newark is experiencing a renaissance. Well, praise God for you. We follow your leadership. That's how great that you're doing in this city, brother. The great work, the work around economic development.
Yes.
The great work
Yes.
around the building of self-esteem
Yes,
amongst
yes.
men
Yes.
and women. My alma mater,
Yes.
Rutgers University,
That's
Newark.
where you graduated.
That's where I graduated. Last year, I was inducted to the Rutgers department because that's the college that you went to at night.
Mm.
I had a family.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that story later on. I'll come back.
Yes, sir.
But I graduated from here. Matter of fact, my brother and I graduated together here at Rutgers University, Newark, and we love this school. I took a lot of classes right next door, and of course the great Paul Robeson.
Yes.
We have to mention him.
That's right.
for this
Sit
Black
in.
History Month.
That's right.
And we have to mention him in a way
Sit
and tell the true story of
That's
Paul Robeson.
Right.
We talk about Amistad, and we'll
Right.
talk about that in a minute,
Right.
about the true history
Right.
of our people. But we gotta,
Right.
we oftentimes glamorize Paul Robeson.
Right.
Paul Robeson died.
That's right.
So my heart goes out to the brother Paul Robeson,
Yeah.
the great things
Yeah.
for our people
Yes.
and for this country and for the
Yes.
world.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Derek.
Ooh.
Do you now I heard you say that you are Reverend.
Yes.
How long?
I've been ordained since 2002.
Oh wow, wonderful.
Yes.
So from Reverend to helping the governor.
Yes.
How did that come about? That's a big jump.
That's a big-
Reverend,
so-
and now you understand? That's a big jump.
So my professional career has been in public policy.
Okay.
I have a master's degree from the University of Maryland School of Public Affairs and Public Management. My father to the movement when I was 9 years old. I say Tiger Woods' dad introduced him to golf.
Golf.
My dad introduced me to the movement,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate my father introduced me to the movement. Or it was a national holiday. Dr. King's birthday was a holiday in Atlanta, Georgia. My father was a teacher in Atlanta, Georgia, and he went to school at Clark Church. And because at the halal restaurant, I could eat
You
everything.
get everything.
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so we don't eat pork,
Right.
and we don't eat shellfish.
Right.
So when I went to the halal, me and my dad,
Yes, sir.
it was father and
Yes,
son
fathers.
time, right? I do that with my son today, but it was father and son time, and we would go and listen to the speeches. We would go and march. Then it was marching for his birthday to be a national holiday,
Mhm.
and we would go and hear all the great speakers. We would hear Andy Young and Mayor Maynard Jackson and John Lewis and Julian Bond and Cicely Tyson came, and all the great Ted Kennedy came. And I was so excited. I remember meeting Coretta Scott King.
Mhm.
I remember her hugging me and saying that Martin died for young boys like you.
Mhm.
History of our people. and how we came over here from Africa, how we were brought over here from Africa, and that we were not brought over here as slaves. We were brought into slavery. And after slavery, this country built its economic foundation off of us. Matter of fact, not only this country, but all of Europe did.
Yes, sir.
Right? All of Europe did. Built their economic foundation, the wealth of their nations on the backs of free labor.
On our backs.
And my dad told me that early. And instead of after slavery, instead of them saying thank you to us, instead of them holding us up in high esteem, what did they do? They created a permanent system of oppression. Me to the intersection of the faith, the politics, and the policy.
Wow.
And that's why I stand here today.
Wow, wonderful. You know, seeing you, brother, it's one thing and I've met you before, but when you learn from whence a man came,
That's right.
you have such a greater respect for that individual. So hearing how you have matriculated, you understand? No, and hearing your background, I have a greater appreciation and respect for you. I want you to speak to something because you just spoke about, we're going to get to the politics in a minute, but as I told Brother Ed, we have created what we call spiritual knowledge.
That's right.
Spiritual, political, and economic.
That's right.
So we're going to get to the, as it relates to you and sharing with us your history, as it relates to you and your father. See, you and your father. You and your father, and that's something that's missing among young black men in America. You understand?
That's right.
You said you're teaching us how your father taught you,
And how you
how
teach
your
his
father
son.
get imparted in you certain knowledge,
That's
certain
right.
information.
That's right. That's
He
right.
exposed you to different things,
That's right.
and the effect that has had on you. So I want you to speak to the importance of that, how that had a profound impact on your life as a young black man in America, having your father there.
My father, David Lewis Green Sr., was one of 13 children, uniform in the States.
Wow.
My grandfather was a strong man, and he raised his children. He worked hard, but he experienced racism. He owned a house in the 40s, in the 1940s, owned a house in Chester, Pennsylvania. My father grew up under that leadership of a strong man, even though my grandfather died when my father was 15. 7 years later, my father was married to my mother when he was 22. And family was all he had. And so he poured everything in us. And I can't even begin to, it would have to be in a book, which I am writing. It would have to be in an afternoon session to talk about the impact of my father in my life. My father was there for me. He didn't do a lot of talking, quiet man, but he was a musician as well. And he was an elder in the church, and he was a teacher. But his example, the way I was in awe of him, I was in awe that he could sing the way he sung, but he could also play tennis. He instilled in me the importance of being well-rounded. He instilled in me the importance of dressing the part. He instilled in me the importance of reading and learning and educating yourself, being able to express yourself. And he told me that I was the best, that they were not the standard, right? That I set my own standard and that I did my best and that God gave me something for me to do. He was a dresser. He wore hats.
Yes, sir.
That's where I got it from. He had, when he was growing up, shoes were important because he had one pair.
Wow.
One pair of shoes, and they were floor shine. I saw him love my mother, right? And I saw the way that he loved his wife, separate from the fact that she was our mother.
Right.
But I remember my father being excited about cooking for my mother. That they were not. We were middle class on a good day, like Governor Murphy said. Right? He would go out and get steaks, and he would make the steaks and season the steaks and sear the steaks and have baked potato and string beans that he would make. And I remembered this, and because he was excited to do this, my mother, I was excited. And no, it was like a little creek with water, and water is romantic. It was a brook. It was a brook, and not until later I didn't understand why my dad was so excited about water in the brook, but it was romantic.
It was romantic.
And he instilled in me as a man, and we as Black men, we must be in the lives of our children.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
We have to be in the lives of our, whether or not you are married or not, with a woman or not, those children need you. They need that guidance. And one of the things that is happening in our community is that the attack on the Black man is so that the enemy can get to our.
He saw Black man as an example. I know that the TV and movies has romanticized and brought a certain level of nostalgia to what we think revolution is, but there's nothing more revolutionary than being responsible for your children.
That's right.
So we have a Black man telling us that he had an example. The Black man, his father was married, his father bought a house, his father was a teacher, his father was a reverend, his father was well-rounded. We gonna get to the politics.
A good husband.
We gonna get to the politics. We know that the brother is an aide to Phil. We know the brother is an aide to Phil Murphy, but he's more than an aide to Phil Murphy. He's a Black man living in America doing something positive.
That's right.
So whether we agree with who he's an aide for or not, you understand? We agree with him.
Respect the man that he is.
We respect his humanity.
Respect his humanity. Respect his position. Respect the power.
And the reason why, we
don't get to the politics. I mean, let's get to it. Let's get to Phil Murphy. We gonna get to Phil Murphy. But damn, it's Black History Month.
That's right.
Let the Black
talk about the Black man.
Talk about it.
A Black man is doing something.
Let the Black man talk about it. So you just want him to jump into Phil Murphy. Let's talk about Phil Murphy, bro. We gonna get to Phil Murphy. Damn. But let the Black man talk about a Black man doing Black things.
Well, the reason why
I can feel the pressure. We get to Phil Murphy. The budget proposal. We gonna get to Phil Murphy and the budget proposal. But hell, he's talking about him having a father in his life and the example. You just want to get on controversial stuff. But we got a Black man talk about something positive. Him having a father. We want to rush him off. Come on. No, we ain't gonna rush him. How much time do we got, Pat?
We got about 15 minutes.
All right, so we get to Phil Murphy, brother, and what he's doing and how you are assisting him. But we want you to talk about yourself, the people that know you. You understand? Because you're more than your opinion. You understand? Yes. And we are learning that now. So this is so full
about what you from the time of your inception. What you've experienced as a young boy into manhood, and what you're imparting into your own son. So you
help a lot of these pseudo revolutionaries. Because hell, some of us are deadbeat dads. With all the knowledge that we got, we in the house of Egypt, we in the house of this, and our children, our children are suffering, and we ain't there because we too busy studying.
Suffering.
I ain't got no time for you.
So
I'm the example of my dad and my grandfather because it poured into my son. Life is not about me. A 19 graduate of Morehouse,
yes, sir,
in Atlanta, Georgia, and my wife and I sacrificed greatly to put our children through school. And my son graduated, God blessed, where a Black man, a Black billionaire, Robert Smith, paid off all the loans.
That's right.
Brother, say that again.
A Black billionaire, Robert Smith,
a Black one,
Black billionaire, Robert Smith, paid for all the student loans and the Parent Plus loans.
2019 graduates.
2019 graduates and their parents.
That's right.
And we thank God for that. I say all that because I'm here. I'm here because he asked me to come back to New Jersey to help him with our social and economic justice platform. I was living in Maryland running my own business, and I had.
Oh, say that again, brother.
I was limiting him because he was on the national board of the NAACP, and I figured that if he's on the national board of the NAACP, do something with this governor. We could have a transformational time with this governor around those issues because. I've been in New Jersey. I lived in New Jersey before I moved to Maryland. And I've been involved in every governor since Florio. Florio. And I also know that in New Jersey, from a public policy perspective, black people get dissed. Black people get dissed
Yes,
from
they
a public
do.
policy.
Teacher.
And so what happens is, that is why the median income for black people and brown people are so much less than you go 15 minutes up the road to Milburn, it's 150,000. That must change, and it's about policy. 15 minutes up the road to Milburn, it's 150,000. That must change, and it's about policy. Policy will help to change that. And so not all the answers, but it will help to change that. So that's why I came back. That's why I accepted the call to come back. I'm excited about the agenda that we have from Governor Murphy, and I'm excited to talk about it for a few tonight.
Well, we have someone on the phone that has a question. Who is this, Kim? Is it Kim, you know?
Coach.
Coach?
Yes.
Oh, we got Coach on the phone.
Did we lose Coach?
Hello, Coach?
Well, want no dead end, Coach. Speak up.
You there, Coach?
There's Coach.
Yes, how you doing? This is Coach C calling in. I had a question.
Coach you?
Coach C.
I had a question for Brother Al Hawk, and very positive brother and parent in the city north. I just wanted to usher, but half of my family is
Coach
Muslim. And my question is, religious freedom being really not vilified the way we but understand the space that he's in. And my question to Reverend Roundtree is, and Brother Ali, is just how the Lord used his will over bad people that were in place, like Nebuchadnezzar.
Right.
How can God still bless our country even with bad leaders? And God's grace can still use a bad leader to fulfill the Lord's grace. Thank you, y'all. And thank you, Brother Al and Brother Ali, and to the show. Y'all doing it.
Right.
So,
Welcome, brother. I mean,
so which question we gonna answer first?
well, how much time do we got? Anyway, what time is it? We gonna come. Thank you, brother.
Let me just hit it right
What
quick.
kind of time do we got, brother?
Let me hit it right
10
quick.
minutes? 5 minutes?
Right, Coach, this is the deal. God is grace. God is grace. Everybody bad is just like
That's
the
right.
weather.
That's right.
The sun, the rain, the snow. It's not for some people, and others escape it. Just like tornadoes, whatever comes. It's not for some people, and others escape it. But one thing I know about God, he's not fooled by none of this. And a lot of times he allows those to oppress, those that are evil, those that are wicked, to get the notice or to get the press. That our people, his people, so to speak, might see how bad it is.
Start saying, Coach, about how does God intervene? God is already there. Piggyback off of what Pastor Ali said, God is already there. When you start talking about your children and religious freedom, we can't impose religious on our youth. They find their own way. But if you set the right example, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim,
Like he said,
whether, whatever you are, whatever road that you're traveling religiously, make sure that you're setting the example that God would want you to set for your child. You can't love this one and hate the other, hate this one and love the other. You got to love everybody, because every Bible, every book, they all speak of loving one another. That's a universal language. So if you are, God is love and love is God. So you love your children, you teach your children how to love one another, in spite of the fact that we've been through Jim Crow, in spite of the fact that we've been, okay, let's go back to slavery, in spite of the fact, and we're not going to dress up none of that stuff. None of that stuff is beautiful, but we've survived it, we made it through, and we're going to make it through Donald J. Trump, and we're going to keep on moving.
Well, I mean, he asked about, religious freedom.
Mhm.
I would just say that the practices are contemporary, but the principles are eternal.
Eternal.
So I would just
Yep.
instruct your son, if you could, to let him know that we're just different branches on the same tree.
That's right.
All of the prophets are from the
That's
same
right.
God. We are
That's
from the same
right.
root.
Same roots.
But the expression of the faith was based on the love thy neighbor as you love thyself.
Yourself. That's right.
So you can't love your neighbor if you don't first have a healthy love and respect
For yourself. That's right.
You understand?
That's
And
right.
oftentimes in this country, we are absent the love of self because we
That's
are
right.
absent the knowledge of
That's
self.
right.
Many of us don't have a Derek Green.
That's
that had
right.
a father to teach
That's
us
right.
the value of who
That's
we
right.
are.
That's right.
Who
That's
God,
right.
who God created us
That's
to be
right.
right, and rear your children in these perilous times. We know that this world is,
Part.
which presupposes that a way has already been
That's
carved
it.
out for them.
That's it.
And a lot of times we as adults, we get in the way. That's been carved out for
That's
children with our bad example.
That's right.
You understand our
That's it.
defects and
That's
our,
it. That's it.
our vices.
That's
So I
right.
would just say to you, continue to be an advocate of freedom, justice, and equality for your children. Again, that kind of took us off course for a second.
It was good though.
It was a good
Coach,
piece.
Coach C, but we want to get back to Derek, my taskmaster here. But Ed Riley just gave me the notes.
I guess we must be getting an extra 15
And he
minutes.
I
Minister,
like
minister.
it. All right.
He gave us more time.
All right. So
He
brother
wants his
Derek,
question.
you was talking about Phil Murphy and why you decided to help him. So again, could you talk about the Amistad, the 4-year college bills in the budget? Just very quickly, but Ed giving us a little bit more time.
Just so and access, and also the Amistad legislation. And I want to just give kudos to Assemblyman Bill Payne. And Assemblyman Craig Stanley.
Yeah.
Who created and were they were all a part of this back then. Good news. The governor announced in his budget address and fully fund the Amistad Commission, which was a campaign promise and a promise that he is and he's kept all of his promises. And this is huge. Just today, we had a press conference with the NJEA, New Education Association, and they are giving the Amistad Commission through the Department of Education $75,000 to give teachers training and access to around the globe that they can, particularly Africa and in America, that they can go and study about the history of our people.
Wow.
Not only that, one more thing. The governor, on top of fully funding it, put an additional $75,000 in the budget for teacher and student training. This is transformational.
Teaching, student training.
We sure do.
The next thing is that the 4-year college, college tuition, student loans is
Out of control.
Completely out of control. People are leaving college with enormous debt.
Yep.
That they will be paying on the bridge a lot of times from poverty to opportunity, because sometimes poverty is just a lack of opportunity, or the core ingredients around poverty have to do with a lack of opportunity.
Yes, sir.
So the bridge between poverty and opportunity is an inequitable college education.
Yes, sir.
Right? So in New Jersey, because of governor and God willing legislature will sign off on this. In the budget, if you make under $65,000 a year and you go to community college, you listeners to hear this.
Yes.
If you make under $65,000 a year, and you go to community college for 2 years, it's free. If after the 2 years you are still making under $65,000, you can go to a 4-year college to finish up your 2 years for free. So essentially, you could have a free 4-year education.
$100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, brothers and sisters, we
No
heard,
excuse.
we heard Derek Green fulfill their promises. And if the promise is fulfilled, we as a people have to take advantages of the opportunities that are being presented for us. Brother Derek Green, I just like to ask you a closing question. What, from your vantage point, has been the most transformative bill that has been passed thus far? If you can single it to one. We know so much has been centered around Black women and prenatal health. Bills have been passed as it relates to trying to get Black women more access. Brothers and sisters being on parole, not able to vote.
Now they're able,
Yeah.
80,000.
Stopping gerrymandering. But
Yeah.
if you can, one bill
It's a
that you
lot.
think has been very transformative, if you can just get
The prayers of this state for Governor Murphy,
Yes.
who will have surgery next week on
Yes,
Tuesday.
yes, healing, yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
The bill that I think has been mostly transformative is the expungement bill. And the reason why I say that is because after slavery, there were laws passed to achieve the same goals of slavery.
Yes, sir.
A Black man walking down the street, turn left, cop, harsh penalties. You all know this, the listeners may not, that in Birmingham, the local mill, the local factory would contract with the jail and get what? Free labor.
That's right.
Free labor.
Get free labor. Free labor.
Free.
The issue with law enforcement is because of the law. The law has been used to oppress Black people.
That's right.
And so our system. And so they're in jail. The jail has been used to back up the oppressive system, to take brothers out the game,
That's right.
so that we won't compete with the job market, so that we won't compete with the housing market, so that we're in jail, so we can't take care of our families. So what did they do? What did they do in the 80s and 80s, right? What did they do in the 80s?
Talking about the crime bill.
Crime
Three
bill.
strikes
Three
you're out.
strikes
Three
and you're
strikes, you're
out.
out.
That's right.
The Rockefeller law.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it filled our jails.
Stop and
Yep.
frisk.
Stop and frisk.
The list goes on.
The list goes
That's
on.
Bloomberg.
That's
Stop.
Bloomberg,
We
right?
just want to remind Bloomberg of that. 'cause he
Absolutely.
died.
So when Governor Murphy signed the expungement bill sponsored by Senator Cunningham, and the expungement bill basically said if there's certain crimes, if you tell me that they can't get a job, or they
Yeah.
can't get a loan, or they can't do this or can't do that because that thing is on their record,
Yeah.
and that's by design.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Governor Murphy came in. Senator Cunningham tried to get that message, couldn't get it. We worked with her. The bills,
Wow.
that is transformational criminal justice reform.
Right.
I'll end with this. When we came in, New Jersey was last. We had the highest ratio of Black non-incarceration in the country, 12-1. Black non-incarceration in the country, 12-1.
Wow.
12-1. Now, today, less than 3 years later, we just got a report from a national organization because of our progressive criminal justice laws and policies. New Jersey is leading the nation in
Wow.
criminal justice reform. To God be the glory, the entire New Jersey, because we need a governor who looks out for all of New Jersey, particularly marginalized communities and those that community.
Reverend Roundtree, any
Yes.
closing remarks?
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much.
Who's responsible for 94% of the African American vote, and that's why Governor Murphy is the governor today. But anyway, I get that. I said he's responsible for 94%, and I don't want nobody to ever forget it, because I was there. It's nothing I heard. The news didn't tell me.
Right.
I saw it firsthand how many African Americans he helped
Right.
pay, take care of their families, made sure they ate, made sure their houses were taken, made sure some he fed, tried to kick his ass. Listen, this is something I got to talk about. The census is so important. The census is so important. There's a training tomorrow at from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There are billions of dollars at stake. Minister Abdul and Pastor Ali, let me tell you something. We will lose legislators that do defend and take care of our people if we don't get this count. So I just want to encourage people to know that if it's not your house and they need to be carried, don't worry. I don't care what their nationality is or It's illegal. It's illegal for the volunteers. What they're not doing is allowing you to fill out an application first. They're going to, you have to fill out online. If you don't fill out online, then they're going to mail you something. You don't fill it out, they're going to knock on the door. But we need to get this done. There's a 3-step process. There's job opportunities updates. How the Census 2020 will invite everyone to be counted, and how we're going to deal with hard to count communities. That's tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to 12, February 29th, 2020, St. Lucy's Church, Community Room, 118 7th Avenue in Newark. Also, I want to talk about the state of the city. I'm just going to give a phone number. The mayor's getting ready to give one of his powerful speeches and on the state of this city. It's not just a speech. It's a state of progress that he will be discussing and sending out to the people that are sitting in New Jersey Performing Arts Center on March 16th. Impact the New Jersey Performing Arts Center and show this mayor that we want to hear and we are concerned about the state of the city. We're moving forward and we're thankful that God chose that man to come forward and lead for us at a time like this. Minister, thank you so very much for
and I'm continuing to be healed. That's why I won't doing too much talking today. Had a stent placed in my heart on the 12th.
It was
Just
preaching.
got back out the hospital on this Tuesday. But I want to give a shout out to one of my homegirls from the block, Joanne.
Yes.
Who passed this morning, and I want to see just salute her.
We got to salute her. She's the mother of the South Ward.
She ran the South Ward.
Mother of the city, really.
And I loved her dearly. So we praying for her husband, praying for her daughter, and
granddaughter,
and all
the whole family.
To her. So Joy, from just the NABC and just from the pastor in the hood, we salute your love, we salute your life, your memory, and your legacy will live on forever. God bless the family.
Yes.
Well, you know, I just want to thank Brother Ed.
Love you, Joanne.
God bless him and heal him of any infirmity that he might have.
Yes.
But you know, he talked about Phil Murphy and expungement. And I just thought about a man that I've met who have given me expertise that he might have.
Yes.
We thank him. But you know, he talked about Phil Murphy and expungement. And I just thought about a man that I've met who have given me expungement. A man that I'll be going to see this Sunday in Chicago, Illinois at Mons Meriam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You may say, how did Farrakhan? Well, he used a sponge. The cream, which is located in Newark, New Jersey at 170 Littleton Avenue. Again, to all of our viewers, we appreciate you. We thank Brother Ed for giving us a little bit more time.
Yes.
Brother Derek Green was full.
Thank you.
Again, giving us that valuable information, insight into his life and his upbringing and his rearing. So we appreciate him, and we appreciate you all for listening. Tuning in to the Disciples. God willing, we'll be back with you next month.
Yes.
May God bless you. May God protect you. And may God keep you all. Protect yourselves. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you.
God bless you. Long live Joanne.